Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Not enough light, is there? So let's see if we can remedy that. Is it any better? I guess not. All right. There we go. Still not that good, is it? So maybe we should do this. All right. So let's see who we have here. Easy to read. He says, good evening. Says, morning, Maran. John 22, Alberta. Hello there. Yeah, it's about, what, 1 o'clock there, is it? So you're up again, aren't you? So let's see if we have any of our TikTok friends joining us. We have a few. So again, we have a short live stream. We talk about thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego. We talk about breakups, relationships, how to regain your balance and move on to bigger and better things, and analyze your breakup and what is happening to your psyche, what's the inner movement of the psyche is. And we also talk about OCD subsets, intrusive thoughts, negative thoughts, HOCD, and the components of the brain involved in that glitch, in that disorder, and how we can rewire the brain through neuroplasticity and understand the relationship between all these components malfunctions, and how we can rewire through the experts' advice, such as Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Speary, Dr. Owen, Dr. Leibet, and many other scholars who have spent their life journey in presenting and understanding and helping with people suffering from OCD and whatnot, including Dr. Anne Grable from MIT, who pioneered the philosophy of the cluster of movements and actions to the brain represents as one. The cluster of many actions to the brain is just like one action. And that has its own story and way of presenting it, which I have it on my videos. We have about 3,000 videos on my channel talking about breakups, OCD, intrusive thoughts, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, and so on and so forth, and HOCD in specific. So you can go to my YouTube site called The One Point, THE, next word ONE, next word POINT, The One Point. And you'll search whatever is interesting to you or what you're looking for by a word in my search engine of my channel, and you'll see many videos there for your viewing and getting help. So I'm not sure what is this feature on TikTok that while I'm doing live, it comes in and says invite so and so to co-host now. Why would I want anybody to co-host about what I want to talk about? What kind of a suggestion is that? While you guys are going to get your favorite beverage, I'm just going to get some water as well. Just hang on. All right, we're back. All right, we've got a few more people on TikTok showing up. So you're free to shoot your question in regards to thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, in regards to breakups, in regards to relationship, and in regards to OCD, OCD subsets such as HOCD, intrusive thoughts, and negative thoughts. And Anton says, I used to watch your stuff a year or two ago. Happy you're still active. Well, thank you very much. I'm delighted that you benefited from the channel and hope that it was helpful to you. Yeah, I've been around, and we now have about 3,000 videos on the channel. Changed the name from Mind That Seeks Truth to The One Point. I guess I thought it's easier. But nevertheless, my videos don't get really distributed so well by YouTube. Somehow it doesn't circulate as well as it should, especially with the contents that we have, which is pretty much second to none, and I'm unanimous on that. With you guys having reminded me of that so many times, hundreds and hundreds of times during the past many years. So I'm convinced that we have a good channel with good quality of contents, but somehow not enough people get to see it. Perhaps we say things that, I don't know, YouTube doesn't want to be talked about. Either way, we're here. We have about 3,000 videos on the channel. We have only 28,000 subscribers, which with the topics that we talk about, the quality of the discussion, it should be maybe a couple of million. But again, we are not somehow distributed properly. Maybe you guys will refer it to your friends and will try the channel and see if you're helpful. If it's helpful to you, you'll promote it, and that would be great. And let's see what we have here. Yeah, mostly TikTok friends just view and they listen. They don't have a question. Sometimes they do, but often they don't. I keep getting these invites. Invite so and so as a guest. Why? Why? How do you know what I'm talking about? How would they know if they qualify? And the other one says, invite such and such for co-hosting. I don't see what this feature is all about. Anyhow, let's see who else we have here. I guess it's Mother's Day night and everybody is busy with their mom, so we don't really have much of a participant tonight. I'll be here another maybe a few minutes, and if I don't see any questions or enough participants, then we'll just call it a night, and I'll go and do some other things, possibly jump in the lake or something. And Anton says, I'm in a relationship right now, and it's not the greatest. We've been through a lot of arguments. And when I think of her, I can only see the good memories we've shared. Well, that's good news. That's the human psyche that is always programmed to forget the bad things. This is why many people are able to, survive through the thick and thin and things that happens in their life. And painful things, whether psychologically or physically, once it's over, through time, it's not going to be remembered. And when you remember about certain things of the past, the brain always gravitates toward the good things, which is the mechanism we need to have to survive. Otherwise, if we would just remember all the painful things, it'd be pretty disastrous. For example, when ladies get pregnant, with all the excruciating pain and challenges and difficulties, and giving birth pain is similar, as they say, like the kidney stone, which is humongously terrible. I had kidney stone, and it was really, really bad. And apparently giving birth is even worse than that. However, nevertheless, 2 months after they give birth, what is that now? They're ready to get pregnant again. Why? Because they forget the pain. And we're all designed to forget the pain. And go on with life and focus on the good things. So that's a good mechanism that we all have, and you're using it. However, um, you need to focus on what is it that causes you so much of the arguments that may not be necessary. And remember, if you're so sensitive about trying to control events and people's opinions and behavior towards you, it's very difficult because there's seldom a real workable way to control the events outside of you. So remember, you can never control the events outside of you by the environment, by the people, by friends, but whoever is out there, the elements or whatever interactions are. But what you should focus on is you have a choice on how you react to the things that other people bring about. You can't control what they do, but you can control how you react to what they do. And that's what you should be focusing. Maybe you want to expand your abilities to not take too many small things to heart and personally get upset about it and in search of conclusion for it and bring that into an argument level and just pass by giving more value to the important things in life and not nitpick on every little thing that it may seem so important, but in fact, it's our ego that wants it to be taken so importantly. Otherwise, in reality, it's got no value. But we spend our time on it just because we want to control everything. Let go of the control and take it more easy. Enjoy the good things. And if things grow and develop by itself, great. If it doesn't, eventually you both may decide to separate and go on your merry ways. But until then, stop sweating the small stuff. And Anton says, and then I'll seem like the bad person for thinking so different. Well, it's not that you're bad or she's bad. It's just that every consciousness is different. It's impossible to find two people, even if they're born in the same family, even if they're close by as neighbors and grew up in the same environment, to have the same reaction toward same thing in the same way. They don't. Why? Because the fabric of their consciousness, which is the content of the consciousness, have been conditioned differently because they have been, since childhood, exposed to different ways and different actions and reactions, and their psyche has been responding to what was happening, even if it's the same thing happening to both of them, differently. And based on that different response, the psyche, the consciousness is conditioned differently, and so on for every other thing that happens. Naturally, every two human being is different than the other one. If you expect to have a complete compatibility, well, you're dreaming. That will never happen. Two different people, two different consciousness. There are always going to be divisions and conflicts. But if you go into a relationship thinking that I'll find a relationship, there is no division and conflicts, well, that's wishful thinking. It's impossible. The idea is how I can tolerate or compromise with the differences that naturally going to come about, because we're all different and conflicts and divisions are natural for a relationship to a certain point, of course. And thank you, the people who like the live. I appreciate that. Perhaps that helps us a little bit more. Let's see what we have in YouTube. And easy to read. It says, it definitely would be nice if we had more viewers, but I think the reason why it's difficult to get them is because the YouTube algorithm intentionally suppresses quality contents like yours. Unfortunately, well, I've come to the same conclusion because I've got I've had millions of viewers over the years, and I've got really thousands of complimentary comments and many emails and texts of somewhat through my site that you saved my life and all these sort of things, which is very complimentary, and I appreciate that. Which means our content is pretty good. But as you said, somehow YouTube, I don't know, we're like hard to find. We're invisible. And Easy to Read says, then they prop up mindless contents. It's sad. That's why I try to mass share the quality contents on SM whenever possible. I appreciate that very much. It's very kind of you. This is what I appreciate so much about your channel is you make valuable long form content. That's what I always look for. Yes, I understand. Most channels of similar topics, so to speak, they respond short responses to certain topics, and some of them are somewhat informative, and many of them are just a teaser in order for you to make an appointment rather than being able to get your answer to the concern right there. Well, all my videos are responding to a question, whether I make the question or the question comes from the viewers, and I thoroughly try to respond and address that topic on that video. And when it's live, even though we have limited time, I try my best to make it as comprehensible as possible. But of course, it's not as convenient in a live stream because many people ask questions and the time is limited. You can't go into a real heavy detail. That's why it's just there to be of assistance of some kind. And of course, you all know that if you wish to talk to me, you can go on my site. And the site is called mindthatseekstruth.com. Mindthatseekstruth.com. And of course, that same site goes by other names as well, which I'm going to put those names right at the site text here. And I read it for you for the TikTok people because I can't write it there. One is called HOCD.world, breakups.world, OCD-HOCD.com, and HOCD.ca. These are names for the same site as mindthatseekstruth.com, where you can make an appointment or take a look at the books I've written, or you can make an appointment or send your question through an email, which is, of course, fee-based. We need to support the channel somehow. Or you can make an appointment for a Skype, which is now turned into Teams or Zoom or WhatsApp, that we can have a video call and discuss that, what's concerning you one-on-one on that venue and forum. And Anton says, what I think you should do is focus on shorter term contents, but make it specific with each video. Well, shorter term contents, we have shorts. We have many shorts that is 1 minute, and that's something. But, if the content, if there's a question, the question should be answered, not just to be mumbled through and leave it up to you to go and make an appointment, pay for it, and so on. I do my best in the videos. And if it's short, then short. If it's longer one, addresses your question. If you can find a title on those videos properly. And then if you want more, you're welcome to go on my site and make an appointment. But I don't aim to make the videos in such a way that you can't get the answer. It's not enough. And you got to go and make an appointment. The appointment is after you have tried and you still have other questions, supplementary questions. And then, of course, you're more than welcome to go make an appointment because, all appointments are pretty costly, although most people in the sharing such information charge quite a bit, and rightfully so. It's quite elaborate and complicated, detailed topic. But of course, mine is very reasonable. So I still don't want you to spend money unless you really need to. So for 90 minutes of discussion, you pay $150 US, which for that same amount, you'd probably pay about $1,000 or $1,200 or $800, if that, with many other people who share such information. So while it's very reasonable, but I want you to take a look at the videos first. And then if you still needed to talk to me, by all means, go on my site, as I mentioned, and then make an appointment. We'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on a live stream or a live real-time video connection. Ed J says, no, before that says, easy to read says, what I appreciate so much about your channel is you make valuable long-term contents. That's what I always look for. Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, I read that before. Thank you very much. Ed J says, 30 male El Paso. Oh, Texas. Welcome. Howdy. It's always a pleasure to tune in to your streams. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. It says, I agree. It suppresses quality streams. I'm grateful to be one of the lucky ones to have found Mehran. My pleasure. You guys made my day. I appreciate that. It makes it all worthwhile, even if there's just a few people who have been helped. While I know millions of people have watched the channel and thousands of people have gotten help, but I wish we could expand it to the point that truly what it deserves. A couple of million people will become subscribers. Then I can dedicate even more time. We'll have more live streams and so on and so forth. All right. What else do we have here? And thank you, Anton, for your suggestions. I appreciate that. And Anton says, are you also streaming on different platforms? Well, my channel is on YouTube. So right now I'm streaming on YouTube as well as streaming on TikTok simultaneously. But I also have two channels separate. The Breakup channel is one channel, and HOCD channel is another one on Rumble, which I haven't paid so much attention to them, but all my videos are also transferring on those two channels separately, of course. And hopefully I'll have some live there too. But there's so much things, and I'm doing something quite special that we'll see how that turns out. That hopefully will be more convenient for many people to get their answers right away without spending too much money, which would cost to talk to me directly one-on-one. It says, have you tried to make videos on Instagram? Yeah, I do upload same newer videos on Instagram, but not as elaborately as on TikTok or as on my YouTube channel. So whatever is possible, I try to share that. All right, we have 482 people on TikTok, but we have no question. It's almost like that. TikTok people don't ask questions. They just listen. And they flood it like DG1451 liked the live, then another liked the live, then the same liked the live, like 10 times the same person. And thank you for that anyhow. Okay. And Anton has sent, it says something, it says sent finger heart. Well, first I said, oh, somebody sent a finger, but apparently there's a heart on it, something. Well, and it says it's a gift. So, okay, I appreciate that. I don't know how these things work, but it says it's a gift, so I appreciate the gift. And And AJ is just goofing off here. Says, give me a kiss then. Well, okay, then you can go and get it from someone in the street if that's what pleases you. All right. All right. And we have someone who's liked the channel 20 times. Can you do that actually? Mm-hmm. And Anton sent a rose times 4. Thank you very much. Again, it's very meaningful to me. While I don't know how these things work, but I appreciate that very much. Very kind of you to support the channel. Anton says, but you should find questions through comments. I feel like a lot of people will get distracted if there is a 1 minute long video. If there is a 1 minute long video, I'm not quite sure if I understand it, but many of my questions that I address in live streams are based on the comments and questions that is asked. Then if it's good question and respond seems to be adequate, I will cut that, make it one video on its own. All good points. Now we have Body Shots KO. Says, hi, Miran. Our HOCD content is saving my life. Oh, I'm sorry. It says, hey, Miran, your HOCD content is saving my life more than anything else. Learning every day more and more how to not follow the HOCD thoughts, almost fully automatic now. Delighted to hear that. I'm sure you have stumbled on one of my videos on Dr. Schwartz 4-step, which is for OCD and also can be used for HOCD, which is pretty much similar to CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. And of course, I have a video which is very elaborate, and I think it's a very good video. The title, actually, I'm going to put the title here, which could be very helpful to many of you if you're looking for more information. And it says why ERP works. And I think that's a very good, worthwhile video to pay attention to. It's one of my latest videos I've done, which I feel hits it on the nail with things that you probably won't find it, I guess, anywhere else, because these are my analytic abilities in the information that I have gathered, research that I've done from the scholars of all these expert OCD masters with research level and academic experiences. They're famous in the world, and I look at their work and compare to what my thinking is and try to bring it into a way that everybody can understand it. And some of the things are used exactly from their work and their experiments of the experts, and some of them are just me having been able to use it personally and use it for many of my clients, and a thought process that brought me to that understanding, which I shared through a video. And let me put that in. That's the one that I'm talking about, why ERP works, which is the gold standard for HOCD and OCD subsets and so on. We're talking about something very serious, I wonder what are these people who are just so simple-minded and trying to troll here. What's the purpose? Why don't you just go do something that you like? If you don't like here, obviously you don't like it here, then go find something else. Like this gentleman, what is it? Bryson said, stop stroking. What? You're not whoops. By the way, what do you do for a job? See, these are like silly. You belittle yourself with your level of intelligence or lack thereof. So just move on with something you like to do with your life and be productive and um, stop this nonsense. Just doesn't do any good for anybody. All right, that's my little bit of a lesson for you. If you take it, you take it. You don't, well, don't. Um, Easy to read says, do you watch the show Chicago PD? No, I don't. I don't have a TV. I'm not connected to TV anymore. It's been over 13, 14 years. I just find what I want to find, research or entertainment on net, YouTube, Netflix, and stuff like that. So I don't watch TV anymore. It says it has a lot of good scenes. The best actor in it is definitely Jason Berg or Jason Berg. I know how to pronounce it. Who plays Hank Vogt. He's such a well written and acted character. All right, glad you like it. The other best actor in the show is John Sido, who plays Antonio Dawson. He's such a heart on the sleeve character. Okay, fair enough. It says it's a show so many families could really benefit from watching together and discussing and debating after each episode. All right, it's a plug for them. Unfortunately, we don't have millions of viewers right now, so I don't know how it'll help them, but we would like to help ourselves first. Easy to read, rather than a television show because they don't need my help, obviously. MRTN says HOCD feels so real. Well, that's how HOCD behaves. That's the whole thing about it. That I explained the other time. It feels so real because, first of all, it's brain based. It's not your existence based. In other words, brain is not you. You're not the brain. So the mistake that many people make is that they think brain is them. So whatever brain conjures up and causes the body to react to, they think it has any meaning or legitimacy or accuracy. But in fact, brain can't tell the difference between virtuality and actuality. So when it's going through the glitch of overactive amygdala and sends an emotional danger signal that doesn't exist, but the amygdala does send it, the prefrontal cortex looks at it, says there's emotional danger signal coming, but there's no narrative to it. What is it for? In order to make it useful, or rather important, because it feels it's important enough that a signal from amygdala has been sent, launched. It is not aware that the amygdala is going through a glitch of malfunction and it's overactive. Prefrontal cortex takes it as a normal or a credible signal, but can't find narrative. So it says, what is it so important to this entity, to this person, that such a danger signal can fit? What's the most important thing for that person? One of the most important things for any of us is what? Is our sexuality. So it connects a sexual narrative to that emotional danger signal, which the danger never existed. And then when it comes to striatum area, midbrain basal ganglia, where there is a lever called caudate nucleus, which its job is to shut down intrusive thoughts. You see, every human being on earth has intrusive thoughts. But when in a healthy brain, a brain that's not going through the glitch of OCD, when an intrusive thought shows up, the lever in caudate nucleus is designed to shut it down. Says, oh, that's a nasty feeling. Oh, that's a nasty thought. And then caudate nucleus makes it disappear. It goes into the gear and makes this thought or this thing that to that person is unwanted disappear. But when there's a glitch of malfunction, caudate nucleus does not do its job, is not automatically attending to disappearing, dismantling intrusive thoughts after the initial notice of the person, the entity, for what it is, and then quickly it disappears and you go about your business. When it's not in a person who is not suffering from OCD, and it's in the person who's suffering OCD, and there's a glitch of malfunction in caudate nucleus, then this doesn't disappear, this thought that had appeared. When it doesn't disappear, it hovers. And then you think, because it hasn't disappeared, it must mean something. It must have credibility. Otherwise, the brain, it's a perfect machine, which is not. Of course not. But you don't know that. You can't tell that there's a glitch in the brain. And so the body reacts to this intrusive thoughts because the brain is so powerful that makes the body react to what it conjures up. So body reacts in the way of feeling or in the way of however, and that reaction of the body toward this fictitious non-existence of glitch that the brain has created is an actual thing that you can feel it. And because you can feel an actual reaction to a thought, you think then the thought that originated, caused this reaction, must have credibility, must be true, because I can feel a reaction, an emotional reaction through my body, which is, body has no choice. It will follow and react to what the brain conjures up. So, in the meantime, the brain itself cannot tell the difference between virtuality and actuality. Because it cannot tell the difference, when it has a glitch and comes up with an intrusive thought, it itself believes this glitch as an actuality because it can't tell the difference. When it believes as an actuality, it signals the body as if it's a real thing. So the body reacts to it, and the body's reaction is actually felt. In actuality, you can witness it and see it and feel it. Then that becomes an evidence for you that the brain's thought about the OCD or the HOCD is accurate, it's true, it's credible. Then you freak out. So you need to, first thing you understand, you're not the brain, brain is not you. And remember that you didn't have this brain 40,000 years ago. Until 40,000 years ago, we lived what? Millions of years perhaps from the beginning. We never had this brain. We had stem brain, like animals, run, hunt, eat, sleep, have sex. No questions, no OCD, no HOCD. Why? Because we had no ability to think and no ability to speak. and the words have meanings, and the meanings create a reaction in the brain and the body and so on and so forth. But none of that was available. So we had no OCD pretty much, and no HOCD, no intrusive thoughts, because there was no ability to think. But since 40,000 years ago, we developed in this brain, which is incomplete, and it goes through glitches. That's why we have so many psychological problems. And so you're not the brain, because brain was added to you. You existed way before brain. Brain was an addition type of equipment, an apparatus to you. So if you realize that you're not the brain, brain is not you, then you won't be fooled by it every time it conjures up something. Okay, that's as long as we can go on live streams with these topics. If you want more, again, you watch the videos or go on my site, make an appointment, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one in real time. All right. Thank you, Anton. Thank you. I appreciate your kindness and your support. Very kind of you for the roses and so on. All right. So looks like to me that all right. Yeah, mindthatseekstruth.com is my site. And the channel used to be called that, but I changed the name a few years ago, and it's called The One Point. THEONE POINT, The One Point. All right. Well, guys, it's been almost an hour. Let's see what we have on YouTube. Easy to read says, yeah, I mentioned just because there aren't many shows in modern culture that actually made people think nowadays. Yeah, you're right. And that's what film used to be. Yes, you're right. Not just entertainment. I wish I could be on it. Yeah. Body Shock KO says, male 39, Netherlands. Oh, wow. Welcome. Says, hi, Meran. How does it feel when you recover from HOCD? Stronger. You become wiser and stronger, more confident. Because the jig is up and you can see and you have seen that it was all bullshit. So you become stronger and understand that you're above the brain. That brain is not above you. You're not the brain, brain is not you. And you're the awareness which watches the brain and judges the brain. And you use what's in line with your values, and you this what is not in line with your values. You become stronger in understanding and separating yourself from the brain when it's necessary, and use the brain as a tool rather than as your boss or your foundation type of thing. It has many uses, the brain, of course, but as long as you use it, not it uses you. So don't be bamboozled by the brain. And it says, will it feel like it was before? Yeah, I think I answered that question already. No, it would be like before, even better, because nothing can fool you anymore. You're so wise that you can see this is the brain's glitch, not your glitch. You're okay. Brain, it's like the liver has extra enzyme and you got to do something with it. It doesn't define you. The liver is not working as good as it should be. Or your knee hurts. That's not the entirety of you. You recognize that you're not the knee. All of that means you're the awareness above all these components. And your awareness can see what's in line with your values, what is not. The reason you become aware of this, what you call HOCD or OCD or intrusive thoughts or whatever, there is awareness only when there is a contradiction. if there was no contradiction between you, the awareness, your values, your inclination, and what the brain conjures up, you would never notice anything. But since there's a contradiction, that means it's not what you're all about. There is an awareness that rises up, says, hey, what is this? What am I doing? This is uncomfortable. This is not feeling right for me. So the awareness is telling you already, shows you that you're not what the HOC suggests. Because if you were what the HOC suggests, there would be no awareness of the contradiction. It's like somebody tells me, you like girls. Yeah. There's no contradiction. There's no awareness. A thought of it comes in. But any thought that is not in line with my values, my awareness sees the contradiction and then shows the reaction to that contradiction. All right. Antasha says, hey, I can see the banner in your YouTube account and it says your brain is not your intelligence. Can you expand on that? What is it? Well, you got to watch the video because I can't really go through it, the whole thing here. Just watch the video if you will, when it's time. And your brain is not your intelligence. Why? Because Dr. Sperry and Dr. Penfield have done over thousands of operations on the brain, experimental and for certain purposes. And often, because once you cut into the brain through the skull, there's no nerve ending in the brain, so there's no pain involved. So often the patient or the subject was awake and helping and guiding the surgeons to do their experiment. So they were able to maybe stimulate some part of the brain, and the motoring, a limb would move, or speech center, they would stimulate part of the brain and some sound showing that they could localize speech center, they could localize motoring center, and they could localize, let's say, on the occipital part of the brain and back, sight center, some light would show up or something. But they could never localize math center. They could never localize intelligence center. They could never localize compassionate center. They could never localize consciousness center. So these are already evidences by modern science that you're not the brain and brain is not you, and you're not the brain's thought. What else did you say in here? Brain is not your intelligence. That's right. So they could not localize that. And then when you look at my video, which is a 45-minute video, elaborate video, I highly recommend if you really want to understand what you just questioned, and I put the link for you, through the experiments of Dr. Owens and Dr. Libet, you can clearly see that even when the brain is smashed and is not operating, like the person's in the vegetative state, they can still communicate with it while the brain is actually non-functional, which tells you there's a higher level of you than the brain. So the brain is not you. There's another level higher than the brain, which is actually aware of everything and is able to connect with the communication while the actual communication branch, the brain, is gone. So you watch this video, and that would be the work of Dr. Owen. Dr. Owen. I've got 4 doctors on that channel that I talk on their work. And let me just put the link here. And just don't watch the whole thing at the same time because it's a long video. Or if you really want to, go ahead. You might get bored because I have this ability to put you to boredom because I explain a lot of things. So it says, you are not, and that is, there it is. This video took a long time to do it actually, but all right, let's see. There it is. There is the link for that long video that will help you to understand. Also addresses the dualism versus materialism. It goes back to 1,000 years when Aristotle introduced the idea of dualism. Like the materialists would say, atoms are void. Atoms are either something or nothing. Either there's something or nothing, and physical. But Aristotle was talking about there's something beyond that physical realm, this physical understanding of our existence. And then, of course, years later, the modern science has proven beyond the shadow of doubt that there is a dualism, there's something beyond the brain, and that is where we operate on that level. So let me see. There is the link for you. Melissa, yes, I understand, Melissa. But go on my channel, The One Point. THE, next word ONE, next word POINT, The One Point. I've got over 3,000 videos, about 762 of them are on OCD and HOCD and intrusive thoughts, and then the rest of them are on thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, and a big, huge part of it, maybe 2,000 or so, it's on breakups and how you can regain your balance and understand the involvement of the inner movement of the psyche and involvement of the psyche in that, and how you can move on to bigger and better things after your breakup. All right. All right. So everybody has seen those links, I believe. Let's see what else we have here. Easy to research. I think you'd like Hank, especially, cause in point, I highly recommend. Okay. Case. Okay. Hank's case. Okay. Easy to read says, I always have trouble with this. I want to share what's troubling me, but then I feel guilty. I'll be burdening others and ruining their day unnecessarily, or worse, they don't care. Well, you don't have to worry about you don't care. That's why you can go on my site, make an appointment, and talk to me. Body Shots KO says, HOCD was the scariest battle I have ever fought, because you are so used to believe and follow your brain. That's right. That's the problem. You're not the brain. Brain is not you. That's the first step to free yourself from HOCD. And it's not about fighting. When you start fighting, you create resistance, which create interaction with the brain, and that's what it wants. And you get deeper and deeper into it, which without you knowing, you're conditioning yourself for continuation of such behavior of the brain. You need to use the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz and other techniques to simply recognize it and put aside and refocus to something that is positive for your life. And if you continue this through neuroplasticity, the brain rewires itself and stops making these assumptions or these suggestions or these intrusive thoughts. Of course, it's more elaborate than that, but you've got all the videos on my channels that you can refer to. Yeah. Antosha, don't believe your brain. Yes. Yes, it is. So I'll be talking about that in that video as well. So you'll get a little bit of a introduction to that as well at the time of Aristotle. And then Easy Tree says, yes, sir, I will definitely do that very soon. Thank you so much. Okay, you're quite welcome. Okay, guys, I think it's time for me to mosey on out and do some other things tonight. It's 12:05. So it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. And in the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com, making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.